Okay. So the first one today in Vibhuti Yoga, he says Rudranam, this is the 23rd verse. Rudranam Shankaraschasmi Vittesho Yaksharakshasam Vasunam Pavakaschasmi Meru Shikarinam Aham. Rudranam Shankaraschasmi Vittesho Yaksharakshasam Vasunam Pavakaschasmi Meru Shikarinam Aham. So what he is, so as if you remember, just bringing our context back, because it's been a while, we are resuming Bhagavad Gita. The context here is after, this is the point where Krishna is starting to create the sense of awe within Arjuna. So slowly he is, see, the end result is to give him jnanam and anubhavam. Knowledge and experience both have to be received, right? Only when knowledge establishes as experience, then will there be transformation within us. Just knowledge may not be able to, wouldn't suffice for us to transform from within. Knowledge will remain as knowledge, it will remain as intellectual knowledge. And at the same time, only if you are waiting for anubhavam to come, then you have to go through many anubhava so that you get to that understanding. So the combination of knowledge from the outside and which converts into experience is the best combination. And why is it so? Because we can just rely on anubhava. A lot of people would say that, why should I listen to what you're saying? Why should I listen to what the scriptures are saying? Why should I listen to what a teacher is saying, a guru is saying, or a wise person is saying? Why should I listen? I will learn it my own way when I get experiences in life. Right? So it is a fine thing. It is just that it's a very slow process.
Guruji, voice break ஆகுது.
ஒரே ஒரு நிமிஷம். Is it, am I audible now? Okay, I'm assuming I'm audible now. Yeah, so as I was saying, there is this, we can remain in this philosophy that I will learn through life experiences. And we can learn through life experiences, and we do learn through life experiences. And when the experiences occur at the right time, which means when you are ready to receive the learning from the experience, when the experience occurs, when you are ready to learn from it, then those experiences convert to knowledge. So your experience becomes knowledge, and that combination is important, and which is what makes you become who you are. This transformation that happens within us in whatever direction, that happens when there is this combination. And if you take the path of experience alone, and if you say, I will learn whenever an experience occurs to me. Only when something happens to me, I will acknowledge it as a fact. I will acknowledge it as some kind of truth or reality. Otherwise, for me, it does not exist. If somebody goes into that, it's a very long drawn journey. It's a very long drawn journey. Like the usual example is said that if you have to put your finger into the fire to learn it will burn, then two things are happening there. You will have to put the finger into the fire, which means you have to look for an opportunity to get that opportunity to put the finger into the fire. Second thing is, you are left with an irreplaceable damage to yourself in some form. You've burnt a part of you. Now, knowledge can bring you faster to this, which means I have seen enough people are telling that fire will burn, and there are people who are wiser than me because I've seen them live a meaningful life. I've seen them do things which are meaningful, etc. I've seen that, and hence I take their word. And but then, whenever a situation like this occurs, when I'm exposed to fire, I am now careful. So there is knowledge that I will be burnt by fire. But when there is an opportunity for the experience, I approach the experience with the knowledge that I have, and then it establishes within me. And then it becomes a truth within me. And then if I remember, oh, somebody told, so many people have told that fire will burn. Today I got an opportunity. Let me test it out carefully so that I don't damage myself. I don't cause irreparable damage to myself. I just want to test the knowledge that I've received. You test it, and then you learn, yes, indeed, it burns. So now the knowledge has established an experience. Now, if I have to go only the experience path, we don't know what experiences will come, when will they come, how will they come, will it leave me in a wiser state or in a more depressed or a dejected or a repressive state? We don't know. So the issue is if you have to take only experience as your measure of transformation, it's a very slow process. It's a very long drawn process, which is why we also listen to what are known as apat vakya, apta vakya. Apta vakya is known as words. These are vakya or sentences or words from apta. Apta are wise ones. Munayah, rishayah. So rishis or munis or scriptures or gurus or masters or teachers. When they say, we take that because we also realize that I have limited time. I have very limited time in my life. And if I have to wait for all the experiences to occur for me to get to understanding, this lifetime is not enough. So what Krishna is doing for Arjuna now, he is creating a situation where he has given him a lot of knowledge. Through the 9 chapters, he has pumped him with a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. He's responded to a lot of questions he may have, and he's also raised questions for Arjuna and responded to those also. He's done all of that. Now he is wanting to give him experience through Vishwarupa Darshana. And now he is in the process of preparing. So knowledge is given in terms of what is Atma, who are you, what is the purpose of life, how do you live, how is creation occurring, how does everything come into being, what is consciousness, what is underlying all of this, what is the truth, all of this in some, how do you really die, all of these kind of things that he has responded to. And now he wants to show him through experience, through Anubhava, that truth. But then he's preparing him in this phase now. In this chapter, he's preparing him by making him become, creating wonderment in him. Right? So he's making him look at awe. So when Bhagavan is saying, Rudranam aham Shankaraha, Shikharinam aham Meruhu. So he's saying, I am amongst all the tall peaks, I am Meru. Amongst all the different 11 Rudras, Ekadash Rudras, I am Shankara. Amongst all Rishayaha, I am Kapila. Munayaha, I am Kapila. Amongst all Rishi, I am Bhrigu. So he is identifying, aham all Vedas, I am Samaveda. He is identifying all those things that are exalted in Prakriti. And he is saying, I am that exalted thing. Why? Because later, when he wants to show his Vishwarupa Darshana, which is It's a mind-blowing experience, right? For us, when we went there also in Kurukshetra, when we looked at that, it looked so grand. And just to
ஆக்சுவலா அது ஆக்சுவலா அதை வந்து அதோட கிராண்டர் எப்போ பிரம்மாண்டம் எப்போ தெரிஞ்சுன்னா when we spotted Arjuna.
Such a small thing. Such a small thing there. And that was not even the scale. The scale was just representative. That was not even the scale. The scale was he was Sarvavyapi. So Krishna was Sarvavyapi. He was appearing everywhere. So for Arjuna, the experience was like absolutely phenomenal. So that kind of experience to occur, you're slowly pumping in. Otherwise, see what can happen, I'll tell you. Just something very interesting. We have heard this. Even Bhagavan comes down in whatever form he comes, we will not accept it as Bhagavan. We will not acknowledge that this is Bhagavan. So the whole preparation process is required. So even for Bhagavan or Krishna to take that Vishwarupa, he has to prepare Arjuna. Otherwise, suddenly he comes and shows that he will not be in a position to receive it. See, the same thing happened to Duryodhana. Duryodhana was also given Vishwarupa Darshana. But what happened in him? He got scared. He got completely scared. Because he was not prepared to receive that knowledge and understanding. So that's scary. So the same Vishwarupa Darshanam, for some is a reward or a knowledge or an experience. For another, it's a beautiful experience. But the other, it is terror, horrifying. It's a terrible sight. Right? Bhadrakali, if she comes and stands in front of us suddenly with all her 10 heads, 18 hands. நான் உனக்கு அனுகிரகம் தான்ப்பா பண்றேன் அப்படின்னு வந்து அம்பாள் நின்னான்னா வேண்டாம். Who is asking for such anugraha? அப்படின்னா that is what we will say. Because it's terrifying. So to receive this experience, one has also to prepare oneself, has to go through the process of preparation. Now here Krishna is preparing Arjuna, and he's preparing him in a way that I am going to show you something. It's like a trailer. I'm going to show you a 2.5 hour movie. So before that, I am giving you 2.5 minute trailer. So in this trailer, he is explaining that I am all of this. Because later when Arjuna is getting this experience, he wants to connect this knowledge. So this is another important thing. Okay. Knowledge, experience. When you've gathered some knowledge and when the experience occurs, if you don't connect the two, if the knowledge and experience are not connected, it will not stay in you. It will always seem the knowledge is for somebody else. Like a lot of people go to satsangs and all that, and after they come out, உடனே husband wife போனானா wife பார்த்து பார்த்தியா நான் சொன்னது தான் சொல்றாரு அவரு. This is exactly what I keep telling you. No, that is for you. The satsang, whatever is there, is for the individual, for you, right? Why does that happen? Because there is no establishment of this knowledge inside you. So which is why we always think that when we talk about aham brahmasmi, or you talk about shivosmyaham, I am Shiva, chidananda rupam shivoham and all that, we think it's for somebody else. We think it is somebody else, or it is this aham. We are talking about the Shiva or Krishna or Narayana, all of that. We are saying it is here, it is this. Devi is here. Somewhere it just feels like theoretical knowledge. And so this connection between knowledge and experience is required to happen when experience occurs. There are other people like Ramana Maharshi who has done severe sadhana in several lifetimes. For him, he had the anubhava in this lifetime. In this lifetime, he had the anubhava of the body being separate. The I which the true I is separate from the body mind. He had that anubhava. And then later, when he heard the Vedic chants, the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutra, and all of that, the Vadyars were chanting in the temple, he felt what they are chanting is his experience. So for him, experience came first, and then the knowledge of the Shastras was later, and then he made that connection. That was his journey, because in previous lifetimes he has become ripe for this anubhava to occur. But for most of us, jnana and anubhava goes together, hand in hand. It goes hand in hand, and it is required to go hand in hand. And we have to become aware whenever there is an experience, we have to connect it to some knowledge that we have gathered, that we have gained, we've received. Otherwise, the knowledge will remain separate, the experience will remain separate. So what is happening now? Krishna is creating a situation where when the knowledge is, he's giving him the knowledge now. I am this, I am that, I am that. So it's all that is exalted that you experience in Prakriti. I am the exalted one. So, and then when he shows the Vishwarupa Darshanam, then Arjuna will connect each one of that he is told, he'll connect to what he is experiencing there. He said he is Agni. Yes, I can see Agni. He said he is the Meru Parvata. Yes, I can see the whole Parvata. He appearing through the whole Meru Parvata. He says, Dhananjay Pandavanam Aham Arjuna. So he says, amongst Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Right? So the most exalted, he'll see Kapila Muni. He sees all of that. So when this connection is very important. So this is the journey of this. In these verses, it will feel like, why is Krishna, and somebody asked me this, why is Krishna, going on tom-tomming himself? That's what it's called, right? You essentially blowing your own trumpet. All these verses in the 10th chapter, he's like blowing his own trumpet. He's saying, na periyale, na periyale. And it's like, I'm a great guy. I'm a big guy. But that's not the intent. Because if Krishna had to do, remember, Krishna, the war is happening towards the last few years of their lifetime. They have lived together for many years. So if Krishna needs to do all of this, he could have done a long time ago. He doesn't have to wait for a Mahabharata war and inside the war battlefield, starting of the war, standing there inside this thing. Kurukshetra, we remember, we were fortunate that summer heat was, right? We were fortunate to have that beautiful weather change in Kurukshetra, but otherwise it is so hot. Imagine Uttar Pradesh and the heat, like you're standing there in the battlefield and you're doing.
பறந்தப்ப வேணாம், பறந்தப்ப எல்லாமே அப்படிதான் இருந்தது.
So, but I think this probably the war happened sometime in November, December, because it was after that it was Uttarayana. He waited for Uttarayana and then he left, right? So it would have been some kind of extreme weather, I'm sure. And they're standing there and he's giving this. And as I said, we are chanting. If you chant Bhagavad Gita, it takes you 3.5 hours. So Krishna and Arjuna are standing there for 3.5 hours discussing this. Others are like waiting, guys, come on, it's time. It's important to bring these contexts, right? Because otherwise it feels stupid. It's like, why Krishna is Chumma, Kanda, why is he talking? Because it's very natural, right? Somebody to look at Bhagavad Gita, it will feel funny. A lot of these things will feel funny. Why is Krishna constantly talking a great deal about himself? So context is this. Context is he's preparing Arjuna for what? He's giving in jnanam, giving him understanding, knowledge and understanding. But he's also wanting to give him the experience. And somehow Arjuna is almost like Ramana Maharshi in this case, right? Because he was ripe, he got this Vishwarupa Darshana. He had this, or like how Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gave to Swami Vivekananda, right? He kicked on his chest and he went into Samadhi for 3 days. Swami Vivekananda. So this is transmission that is happening here. Now, as we said, we are talking about 3.5 hours and all that. So obviously it's not the same time. This transmission that is happening. It is not literal word by word speech. Vyasa would have written it down this way. But the actual experience of Krishna and Arjuna would have been through transmission. Some form of transmission. This knowledge would have, this mananam, this whole conversation would have happened in Arjuna's mind, or Krishna looking at him, or something like that would have happened. We don't know. So this important thing to note is this preparation is important within us. And how do we take it for our sadhana? We need to understand whatever we learned. And we did this last week also, we spoke. We have to spend time in introspection. We have to spend time in nididhyasana. We have to spend time in isolation. Be you go to a temple, or you go into your prayer room, or you go into some place. We have to spend that time in isolation. And we have to process this. We have to process. Maybe we get an experience so that this becomes dridha, this becomes established. Maybe we will not. And that's okay. That is for what is called as Ishvara Anugraha. The Anugraha that comes through is, you can't choose the time of the Anugraha. So it will come when it comes. So that way the process is important. So when we read Bhagavad Gita, remember to watch the process. Watch the process of how beautifully this journey is occurring. So in this chapter, in this particular verse, he's saying, Rudranam aham Shankaras chasmi vittesho yaksharakshasam. So he's saying, among Rudras, among the Ekadasha Rudras, I am Shankaraha. There are 11 Rudras, and then amongst them, Shankara is supposed to be the most, one of the Rudras is called Shankara, and that Shankara is considered to be the most prominent one. So I am Shankara amongst all Rudras. Vittesho Yaksha Rakshasam. So among the wealthy ones, I am Kubera. Kubera is Yaksha Rakshasam. I mean, amongst all the, his name is Vittesha is the god of wealth. Vitta Isha. Vitta means wealth. Isha is the lord. So Vittesha is the lord of wealth. Is who is Kubera. Amongst whom? Amongst Yaksha Rakshasam. So amongst all the demigods and all kinds of Raksha. He is also so Rakshasas are known to be very wealthy. Rakshasas are known to be wealthy, material wealth, because they go and covet, they go and accumulate, and so that's what they do. They go and conquer and accumulate wealth. So amongst all of them, I am Kubera. Then Vasunam Pavakaschasmi. Amongst Vasus, Ashtavasukkal அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாளே. Ashtavasus represent the 5 elements and Surya, Chandra, Agni. No, Surya, Chandra and the stars, Nakshatra. So these are the Ashtavasus, or the Ashtavasus essentially govern these elements. Amongst them, I am Agni. Because Agni Mile Purohitam, this is the first verse of Rigveda. It says, Agni is the Purohita, is the priest who carries from one world to the other world. So the transmitter, which is why Agni has a great deal of respect in many cultures. And we've done this during Aditya Hridayam, we discussed. Agni as a tattva has phenomenal reverence in many, many cultures. Also because it is the representation of the spiritual. Even if in the Pancha Mahabhutas you see Prithvi, Jala, Prithvi, Apaha, which is Jala, Apas, Jala, then Agni, then Vayu, and um, space, which is Akasha. Prithvi, Jala, Agni, Vayu, Akasha. Right? Agni is somewhere in the middle. Prithvi and Jala and Vayu and Akasha, Agni is right in the middle. And what it does is you will see when Agni comes, Agni has form, Rupa, but it doesn't have the grossness of Jala and Prithvi Tattva. So Prithvi Tattva and Jala Tattva are gross in nature. They have form, they have shape, they have taste, all of that. They're material. And Vayu and Akasha, they don't have form, no Rupa. But Agni is in between. It has Rupa, but yet it is Arupa. And that is why it is known to be a conduit, a channel between the material and the spiritual. So Agni is considered to be reverential in that sense. So he says, Vasunam Pavakaha. Pavaka means Agni. Agni is Pavakaha. Pavaka Asmi. Meruhu Shikharinam Aham. Amongst all Merus, which means amongst all Shikhara, which means all peaks, I am Meru. Meru is considered to be the Meru Danda, or Meru is considered to be the central axis of the universe. In the Puranic literature, Meru is considered to be the central axis. And in us, the Meru Danda, the representation of Meru Danda is the spine. So, amongst all, so if you look at all Shikharina, which means amongst all different kinds of peaks, amongst us, this Meru Danda is the most important. Then the 24th one, he says, Purodhasam cha mukhyam mam. Amongst all priests, I am Brahaspati. Purodhasam cha mukhyam mam vidhi partha Brahaspatim. Vidhi means know that I am Brahaspati. Amongst all Purohita, amongst all priests, I am Brahaspati. And then Senaninam Aham Skandaha. Amongst all Senani, which means amongst all the chieftains of the warrior chiefs, Senapati. Amongst all Senapatis, I am Skandaha. Who? Kartikeya. Today it is his day. Sura Samharam. Andashashti. So, amongst all great warriors, or the chief of warriors, Senapati, I am Skanda. Skanda is considered to be a very, very valiant warrior. Not just valiant, but a very intelligent one. Why? Because he was, if you know the story, he was the one who gave Upadesha to his father. In Puranic literature, he is the only one. Of course, there is Kapila Muni who gives Upadesha to his mother Devahuti. But the son who gives Upadesha to the father is Kanda. Gives Omkara, Upadesha on Omkara to his father. That's why he's called Guru Guha. The other term for Skanda or Kartikeya is Guru Guha. He's also known as
Gurubaran kuda solla.
Guru Paran.
Gurubaran.
Reason is because he is the Guru. He also takes the aspect of Guru. To whom? To his own father, who considered to be the Ishvara. Right? The Lord of all Lords, Mahadeva, avarke he gives Upadesha.
Ni Guruvaram. Inniki Guruvaram.
Iniki Guruvaram, exactly. and in today's Sura Samharam. So the beauty of this particular aspect is he says, I am Senani Nam Aham Skandha. Amongst all Senapati, I am Skanda. Skanda is this phenomenal, he is a very handsome looking warrior, right? He is considered to be very Sundara, Kumara. These are names that he has, right? Skanda has these names. And he is also he is considered to be the amalgamation of 6 primordial forces. That is why he is also Shanmukha, 6 faces, right? Shatmukha is Shanmukha. He is also Subramanya. He is also the representation of Brahman. Subramman. So he is a very exalted representation in that sense. He is also a very exalted representation. So Krishna is bringing that aspect of the warrior here, warrior chief, because one of the ways to approach Subramanya or Kartikeya is to receive his blessing to remove 6 things, which are known as the Shad Ripu, the 6 enemies. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. These are 6. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. These are 6 what are called as Kalmasha. Kalamasha. Shad Ripuhu. So these 6 ripus remove. And how do you remove? By fighting, by clearing it off. And he is the warrior chief. He is the Senapati. So he will help clear off all this. So he says, Senaninam aham skandha sarasam aham asmi sagaraha. So amongst all water bodies, sarasam, saras means water bodies. Amongst all water bodies, I am the ocean. I am the great ocean. I am sagaraha. That is the 24th. So look at this. He's trying to expand his mind. Krishna is trying to expand Arjuna's mind so that he can receive the grandeur of what is offered to him, what is going to be offered to him. The 25th verse is Maharshinam Bhrigu Aham Giram Asmi Ekam Aksharam. So amongst all Maharshi, I am Bhrigu, because Bhrigu Rishi is known to be very, very dear to Vishnu Bhagavan, Narayana. Only he had the audacity to go and kick Narayana on the chest. Right? And then Lakshmi got angry. அது எப்படி நீங்க உத வாங்கிண்டு அதுவும் நான் இருக்கிற இடத்துல he kicked. And then she goes down to earth. That story is there. அவர் பாவம் வச்சோ போனா போறது கோவத்துல he did அப்படின்னு சொன்னா அப்படி எல்லாம் முடியாது. So Lakshmi got really wild. He's saying you're doing partiality with your bhakta. And this bhakta, fine, he's your bhakta, right? Why should he kick me? Vishnu says he kicked me only, no? But he says, no, I am supposed to be in your Vakshasthala. Lakshmi, Shrihi is in the Vakshasthala. Kaustubha Shri. The Kaustubha Shri remains in Narayana's Kaustubha. I am there. How can you allow that to happen? Appada Narayana thinks, Achicho. I didn't think about this.
இடம் கொடுத்து தப்பா போச்சுன்னு நினைச்சுப்பாரு.
So that way, he is Bhrigu Rishi. Amongst all rishis, he had the audacity to go and do that. And only a pure bhakta can do that. Only somebody who has so much of bhakti, has complete devotion, like Kannappa Nayanar. He also kept his feet on the linga. Right? Bhrigu kept his feet on Narayana's chest. Kannappa Nayanar kept his feet on Shivalinga, Shiva's eyes. But for what? Because he wanted to pluck the other eye, and so that he knows where to keep the eye that he plucks. The location marker kaga, he keeps his feet to mark the location. That is the kind of bhakti. So he is showing that Maharshinam Aham Bhriguhu. I am such a great, that Maharshi Bhrigu is such an exalted one. So I am that. Giram Asmi Ekam Aksharam. Amongst all chants, amongst all chants, all kinds of chants you take, what am I? What is the most fundamental sound of all chants? Omkara. Akara, Ukara, Makara. Right? This is the only chant that doesn't require your tongue. It's the only chant that can come out without the interference of the tongue. Om. And it is a mantra. It is a bijakshara. So it is the greatest bijakshara, most exalted. Even in the Christian theology, in the Christian belief, it's called the Holy Spirit. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit is equivalent of Omkara. So he says, amongst all chants, amongst any sound, any form of chant that you make, that you think is sacred, the most sacred is Omkara, because it's underlying all chants, all forms of chanting, all forms of reverberation. I am that. I am Omkara. Ekam Aksharam Aham. Yajnanam Japa Yajñosmi Sthavarānam Himalayah. Yajnanam Japa Yajñosmi Sthavarānam Himalayah. Now, in terms of yajna, we know there are different kinds of yajnas that we do, starting from small yajna you do for your graha pravesham to every year we do this Varsha Varsham குழந்தைகளுக்கு பண்ணுவாங்க birthday they do, right? What is this, the homa,
Ayush Homam.
Ayush Homam.
Ayush Homam.
So you do every year, do Ayush Homam. All of these are yajnas, different kinds of yajnas, where you offer something. And then you have Vajashrava yajna, you have Putra Kameshti yajna, you do Ashwamedha yajna. So there are so many of these yajnas where you offer something for something. But then we have discussed yajna through Purusha Suktam and so many other works. You've seen that yajna is not necessarily, there is one is called as Kamya yajna, and then Nishkamya yajna. Kamya yajna is you're wanting something, so you do some yajna. Nishkamya is you're not specifically asking something, you know it is your duty to give, because someone somewhere somehow is giving you. Right? Rishiran, Devaran, Pitraran. Your debt, we carry so much debt. So we are receiving all of this. Now we have to give. It becomes, it's nature's way is to give. You give, like again, the reference of Christ. He says, give, you shall receive. Very simple. It's a very simple philosophy. And so giving is yajna. And it generates a certain cycle of in creation. It creates a certain cycle in creation. You give, you're sustained. You give, you're sustained. Now here he says, yajnanam japayas yajnah aham asmi. Japa yajna is considered to be the greatest form of yajna. You do japa because to do japa yajna, to do any form of yajna, you require a lot of samagri. You will require things, you require ingredients on the outside. To do japa yajna, you don't need anything. You just need yourself, your intention, your mind, and your vak. In fact, you don't even need your vak. Even if somebody is dumb, he can do japa. And why is japa called as yajna? Two reasons. Because when you do japa, there is tapa. Tapas means there is agni. In yajna, all forms of yajna, there is tapas. In the same way, when you do japa, there is tapas, there is fire. Those who have done a lot of japa will realize that your body heats up when you do japa. And what are you offering? In that yajna, you are offering your own ahankara. You are offering your desires. You are offering your aspirations. You are offering your wants. You are offering your dejections, your depressions. You are offering, you are pretty much offering everything. Your joys, your sorrows, everything you're offering. Why? Because when you're doing that japa, you're not expecting anything in return. Japa is to be done that way. So it increases the heat. And when the heat increases, there is a natural burning of things that happen within you. Your karma burns, your desires burn. Which is why it is recommended to do japa. Japa evlo mudiyumo. Those who heard the Nochur Swami's talk, he says Panchakshari. Keep chanting, keep chanting. Repeatedly keep chanting. To what end? To no end. Just keep chanting. It's like office lala, when you do excellent work, they'll all come and say, oh, super and cholita. Then you know what is the reward? More work. In fact, nobody will say great work also. They'll say, oh, very nice, very nice. And then they'll say, okay, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? So like that, when you do japa, a lot of japa, then it's like, what next? Oh, lovely, wonderful, do more japa. Right? So, japa, yajnanam japa yajñosmi. I am japa yajna. Okay, mama. Sure. So, I am japa yajna. I am amongst all forms of yajna, japa yajna is the highest, most exalted. I am that. Sthavaranam Himalaya. Amongst all things that are stationary, I am Himalaya, which means that sthavara is to be stationed, to be in one place, immovable. Something that is immovable is sthavara. Sthavaranam aham Himalaya. I am the Himalayas amongst those immovable things, because Himalayas, we don't know for how many years and millions of years it's been there, not moving anywhere, right? It's been there like that. So I am the Himalaya amongst all of that, right? So that is the 25th one. And the next one, we will, okay. So next one, we will need to spend a little time. So maybe we'll pick up next week. Ashwattha sarva vrikshanam devarshinam chanaradaha gandharvanam chitraratha siddhanam kapilo munihi. So this is beautiful. It'll be interesting to discuss about what is Ashwattha and what is the importance of the Ashwattha or the people tree. We'll spend some time and discussing that next week. So we'll pause here today. Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyerva Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Svabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami Sadashivayeti Samarpayami Jagadambikaye iti Samarpayami Sadgurunathayeti samarpayami. Hari Om Tat Sadgurubhyo Namah. Gurudeva. Everybody have a wonderful Sura Samharam Kanda Sashti. So let it be a beautiful day and evening. Swanamari, like we said, let us pray for these Shad Ripu, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. These 6 to be vanquished by Subramanya, by Kartikeya. Let us allow him to vanquish all of that within us. So that is the true Sura Samhara, the Samhara of these within us. Okay? Jai. Hari Om. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Dhanyavad.
Namaskar. Dhanyavad.